There are growing fears of a major global trade war tonight after President Trump announced sweeping tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico and China.
We all strive to protect our future, whether it's finding a high-paying job or living the American dream. However, there is a hidden threat lurking in the form of economic standoffs. Trade disputes and political fights can cause rising prices on foreign goods, as well as supply chain disruptions that can shut down entire towns. This article will highlight the risks involved. Consider this a guide to avoiding financial trouble before it occurs. On a calm morning, Canada announced a major change in its trade policy, imposing a 25% charge on certain goods from the United States and a 10% fee on energy products. The two countries had previously enjoyed friendly trade and smooth movement of goods. Let's see how it all ties together. News outlets reported disbelief at the sudden shift. The Prime Minister himself has stated that he wants to annex Canada, indicating that Trump is serious. Experts discussed the next steps on talk shows, while ordinary families worried about the impact on their budgets and daily lives. Some were concerned about higher grocery prices. Social media users quickly expressed strong opinions, causing the mood to shift from calm to anxious as official statements were awaited. Some felt proud that Canada was standing up for itself. Canada retaliated with high tariffs, demonstrating its willingness to protect its own industries and workers. This was a surprising move for a country known for its quiet diplomacy. In a single announcement, Canada made it clear that it would not remain silent if it felt threatened or overlooked. This change in the North American trade environment was a surprise attack, as the relationship between Canada and the US had been marked by mutual respect for decades. The United States and Canada shared open borders, cultural connections, and trade agreements, including the North American Free Trade Agreement, later updated as the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. These agreements aim to facilitate trade. Many Americans believe that Canada would always cooperate, even if disagreements arose behind closed doors. However, Canada had grown uneasy with certain policies from Washington and the District of Columbia. Canadian officials were concerned about their own economic stability. Local businesses and workers urged the government to defend Canadian jobs, especially after seeing moves in the US that favored American industries at Canada's expense. While politeness had been the norm, rising pressure forced Canada to reconsider its approach. When Canada finally declared tariffs, many American industries were impacted. Canadian officials challenged the traditional power balance by declaring, "Standing tall Canada," ending their illusion of a significant pushback from their northern neighbors. The unexpected stance of Canada demonstrated how a partner may take drastic measures to protect its interests if pushed too far. This was a new ground for both nations. In the US Capitol, lawmakers rushed between meetings to determine whether to condemn or calm the situation. Canada was accused by some politicians of overreacting. Others accused the White House of failing to handle the trade relationship more cautiously behind the scenes, while aides prepared talking points and talked about the possibility of a bigger dispute that could hurt both economies. Spokespeople were seen having difficulty responding directly to questions during televised briefings. Numerous reporters questioned why the administration had failed to predict this. While one official maintained that the tariffs were merely a minor setback, another cautioned that this was not a typical misunderstanding. The public watched in anticipation of reassurance, but few found clear direction as various voices fought for attention. Rumors of emergency talks to avoid a deeper conflict also spread, and private sector leaders urged Washington to act quickly to end the standoff. Some claimed that the US and Canada needed to sit down right away and rework trade terms, while others wanted to step up their tough tactics to demonstrate their strength. Meanwhile, citizens were concerned about possible price increases for household goods and disruptions to daily life. The Prime Minister spoke in a calm but firm tone, reminding everyone that these tariffs were not meant to harm a neighbor, but to protect Canadian jobs. Local radio stations replayed his remarks throughout the day, and newspapers praised the government's determination. In homes across the country, families talked about how they could buy more local goods to help their fellow citizens. In this turbulent climate, uncertainty became the new normal. On Capitol Hill, Canada rallied north of the border, and a different spirit prevailed instead of collapsing under the weight of economic pressures. Local authorities started modest campaigns to advertise Canadian goods in supermarkets and internet retailers. While small factories printed labels urging consumers to choose Canadian brands, farmers urged people to pick their own fruits and vegetables. Although some were concerned about long-term fallout, concerns about the price of imported goods persisted, and many thought a united approach would mitigate the effects. Even children learned about supporting home industries, with teachers explaining how every local purchase could have a positive impact. There was a noticeable sense of pride, as people viewed this as evidence that Canada could withstand greater powers by relying on mutual support. Both citizens and officials hoped to find a just resolution. The nation's collective voice called for unity in the face of trade war pressure points. but it was unclear if the situation would end quickly or degenerate into a longer standoff. Instead of imposing additional fees on a broad range of goods, Canada has chosen to address tariffs in a straightforward but cautious manner, concentrating on particular American goods that can cause the greatest distress where it matters most. Canada is examining goods that have economic and political significance. Kentucky bourbon is a prime example. Since this well-known beverage is associated with a region that has powerful lawmakers, any increase in the price of bourbon attracts their attention and puts actual pressure on them. Florida orange juice is another target since it originates from a state that frequently plays a significant role in elections, making increased orange juice costs a contentious topic for both families and politicians. Targeting Tesla with tariffs is arguably the most audacious move, as the company is widely considered a pioneer in clean transportation and modern technology. Tesla relies on critical raw materials like nickel, lithium, and aluminum, which Canada can supply or cut off by increasing the cost of these resources. Canada demonstrates that the US cannot rely on stable trade. Supporters of electric vehicles seek affordable and dependable options, but each new fee increases the cost and difficulty of building them under this plan. Canada's tariffs are targeted to impact lawmakers, industry leaders, and consumers, such as charging more for bourbon orange juice and electric vehicle materials. Canada challenges the US government to consider whether a trade war is worth the consequences. This approach may appear harsh, but it is strategic in targeting areas that are likely to respond to cost increases, such as family kitchens and high-tech assembly plants. Washington officials may recognize that these policies have a significant impact on the auto supply chain and its consumers. Modern automobiles are built in multiple locations. Before a car can be sold, parts frequently cross borders. A steel frame may originate in one province, while wiring may come from a nearby state. Smaller components may travel to multiple factories during the manufacturing process. This design improves efficiency, especially when moving across borders with few barriers. However, a 25% charge may appear each time a shipment crosses the border, which can quickly add up. When a part is shipped multiple times, the total cost can be significantly higher than expected. This not only affects car companies' bottom lines, but also leads to higher sticker prices for customers. Dealerships impose additional fees, causing supply lines to clog and factories to slow down or halt output. Managers may be concerned about production schedules and labor costs. Companies may reduce shifts or lay off workers to cope with the unexpected budgetary impact. The root of the issue is that North Americans, while big car companies make headlines for announcing factory changes, there is a quieter story unfolding in smaller communities around those plants. Restaurants, repair shops, and local stores rely on steady business from plant workers and managers who spend money on meals, groceries, and services. Even minor changes can cause significant disruptions. Customers from nearby factories are experiencing empty tables or reduced sales in small towns where the plant is the largest employer. When workers' hours are reduced or sent home, entire neighborhoods may experience shock. Families may opt to stay at home to save money if the slowdown continues. You may struggle with rent or mortgage payments. Small businesses may be forced to reduce hours or close permanently, leading to a negative cycle of job loss, reduced spending, and further closures. Communities often take pride in their local industries. Trade disputes and layoffs threaten the legacies of small towns, causing families to lose their source of income and feeling powerless to change the situation. Canada's secret weapon, often under the spotlight. Canada has a significant energy advantage over the United States, supplying oil, natural gas, and electricity to fuel vehicles, heat homes, and power offices for years. Keeping energy prices stable and ensuring a reliable supply is crucial for regions that may struggle during peak seasons. If Canada reduces exports or increases charges, it would cause significant concern. Gas and diesel prices in states relying on Canadian oil may skyrocket in a matter of days. During colder months, families in northern areas may face higher heating bills. Businesses in the transportation industry may face higher costs, which they may pass on to customers. This could lead to public outrage and pressure on government leaders. No country wants to be cut off. Canada, an important trading partner, may not intend to cause an energy crisis at this time. Simply Canadian. Officials have a powerful bargaining tool if trade talks are stalled. Losing access to affordable energy could make US leaders reconsider escalating the conflict. While trade battles typically focus on tariffs for finished goods, the flow of energy affects all aspects of modern society. Even minor policy changes can cause significant anxiety. The Canadian government gains a significant advantage in negotiations. Although they may not be completely cut off, the mere possibility of supply can shape discussions and prevent the situation from spiraling out of control. A modern economy requires reliable energy, which is at the core of Canada's power grocery store turmoil. People across the country have noticed a steady rise in the cost of everyday goods at their local shops. Fresh fruits, breads, and milk are becoming increasingly expensive, making it difficult for families to add extra items to their grocery carts. Shoppers share stories in the aisles about how their grocery budgets are shrinking. One parent describes how she realized basic staples were eating into her weekly allowance after picking up milk, eggs, and fresh vegetables. Another shopper recalls skipping a favorite cereal due to a few pounds or dollars difference. The impact on daily life has been unexpected, with paychecks barely covering rent and utilities, and extra costs becoming a source of tension. Neighbors are whispering about how they will manage the next week's list, and many are afraid of the consequences. Rising bills are just the beginning of the American car buyer's dilemma. In showrooms, new sedans, sport utility vehicles, and electric models may appear appealing, but the price tag now includes hidden costs related to trade policies and metals such as nickel, lithium, and others. Car prices in foreign countries have risen due to higher taxes at the border, causing families to be caught off guard. Those looking to purchase an efficient compact car may find that the cost has increased significantly since their last visit. Additionally, more people are competing for used cars, leading to higher secondhand prices. For those in need of reliable transportation, the decision can be stressful. Purchasing a car can be challenging due to limited funds and increased demand. For personal vehicles, families are concerned about future price increases, leading to uncertainty about the availability of necessary vehicles. Voters on both sides of the political spectrum are frustrated with leaders' failure to address price increases at grocery stores and car lots. Border public meetings in town halls or local community centers have sparked heated debates about the impact of trade decisions made far away. Parents are concerned about feeding their children, while recent graduates face higher costs and student loan burdens. Retirees with limited pensions struggle to afford medicine, fresh produce, and reliable transportation. Politicians who once supported tough tariffs are now criticized for failing to protect consumers from daily hardships. Some officials argue that short-term struggles will lead to more jobs and better deals for the country, while others change their tone to avoid potential re-election challenges on social media. Citizens rally with hashtags and calls for swift change, urging leaders to reconsider trade measures. Grassroots organizers hold marches and petitions to highlight how rising prices are negatively impacting families. Empty promises will not bring satisfaction. During public forums, politicians often propose quick fixes to address the issue of rising bills. However, many voters believe that real solutions should be implemented sooner rather than later, especially when tariffs divide neighbors. Beyond rising costs and political drama, there is a quiet shift in how communities see each other. Long-standing friendships between people living near the border have begun to fray under new pressures. Events that once bridged cultural or national differences now see fewer participants as people worry about travel expenses or the general mood of tension. Families who once hosted each other now hesitate to host each other, fearing that casual conversation will turn into debates over who is to host. During these tense times, many organizations are canceling shared trips across borders due to uncertain fees or new customs rules. Local sports clubs and cultural fairs that once welcomed everyone are now struggling to maintain attendance. Friends who used to swap homemade treats are unsure if buying foreign ingredients sends the wrong signal. A subtle sense of caution has replaced this. While diplomacy may resolve trade conflicts, the damage to personal bonds is already visible. A new spirit of cooperation is needed to heal the world. Worry and resentment have risen in neighborhoods where people used to feel at home on either side. Even if government leaders strike new deals, some fences between friends may remain in place long after the headlines change. Canada's bold action has sparked speculation that other U.S. trade partners may follow suit with new penalties. Countries in Europe and Asia are closely monitoring how targeted measures can influence industries and political debates. European leaders may protect their economies from rising import costs if the U.S. continues to impose strict trade barriers. Asian officials may collaborate or strike new deals with Canada to reduce their reliance on American buyers, following Canada's moves. Mexico has a difficult dilemma. Mexico has strong commercial ties with the U.S., but recognizes the importance of standing up for itself. Copying Canada's approach could harm ties with Washington, while failing to act could lead to missed opportunities to stand with other countries. Experts predict a domino effect, potentially leaving the U.S. alone to face measures beyond Canada's. Automakers are facing a crisis due to nations' refusal to accept higher tariffs. Major American car manufacturers, such as Ford and General Motors, are facing uncertain futures and rely on smooth operations. Tense trade disputes pose threats to supply chains and predictable costs. Company leaders consider moving production overseas, despite potential domestic backlash. While reducing domestic operations can save costs, it may also result in significant job losses. Either path poses significant risks. Investors are concerned about new tariffs, leading to a drop in stock values. Suppliers to automakers are concerned about losing business if factories relocate without a peaceful resolution, according to observers. Famous brands may experience declining sales and reputation over time, putting communities, workers, and shareholders in a difficult position. China and Europe are competing to fill the void, while the US and Canada remain at odds. Chinese companies specialize in electric vehicle batteries and other cutting-edge technologies, and if North American supply chains struggle, they can step in with consistent deliveries and lower prices, giving China more power in the global automotive sector and potentially steering innovation and market trends. European automakers and suppliers are ready to fill any gaps in the trade conflict. Offering stable business deals and fewer political hurdles may attract North American clients seeking reliable parts, potentially shifting the center of automotive development away from Detroit and other traditional hubs. As each month of conflict passes, new competitors invest more in R&D, leaving American firms struggling to keep up. There are two possible outcomes for North America's future. In one scenario, the United States and Canada could reach a truce to recognize their deep trade ties and common interests. While this would require difficult compromises, it could provide reassurance. Global markets preserve job opportunities and revive the spirit of collaboration that once existed between them. The second scenario is more concerning. If neither side relaxes their demands, the trade dispute may drag on. The ongoing tariffs, legal battles, and political standoffs may lead to higher prices for everyday goods, causing stress for families and small businesses. Foreign markets are expected to grow. We are pursuing long-term deals with our North American partners. Some observers believe the crisis can still spark new ideas. Some argue that the tensions between the two countries will lead to modernization of industries and investments in greener technologies, but others point to deep divisions in government. Workers, business owners, and citizens alike are uncertain about the path ahead. Will the conflict end, creating a united North American market, or promoting pride? And the current political climate in North America raises questions about the future of the region and the impact of decisions made today on car production, resource flow, and global trust. While many hope for stability and prosperity, the question remains, will North America return to unity, or will tensions worsen? Comment below with your thoughts on today's unfolding drama.